Hey, how's it going? Troy here with Big BB LLC. And I'm here to address a question that I get often. So often, in fact, that I felt it necessary to make a video about it. The question is, how can I get my start into gunsmithing, right? And so the one thing that everyone always brings up is SDI, Sonoran Desert Institute. And they're like, well, is this a good school? Absolutely not. And here's a few reasons why. One, I know there's a lot of big name gun tubers that will shill SDI. Remember, they're getting paid to do that. I'm not getting paid by anyone for anything. All I'm giving you is my honest 100% opinion. But the first thing is, you cannot learn gunsmithing online. This is a hands-on profession, and you need to learn hands-on stuff. Alright? You can't learn this stuff online. They mostly focus on ARs and 1911s from my understanding. Maybe a little more here and there if you want to pay more for the classes, this and that. But everyone is building ARs and 1911s. In the gunsmith world, there's really no money in that. People are just YouTubing how to fix it and then paying you more to fix what they screw up again. For ARs, those are easy, right? My personal recommendation, if you really want to get into gunsmithing, take classes, learn how to do machining, lathe work, and TIG welding. Those three things right there will put you above probably 75 to 80% of the gunsmiths already out there. And remember, there's a lot of gunsmiths that aren't even gunsmiths. They're armorers, which means all they do is remove and replace parts. There's a vast difference between a gunsmith who can actually fabricate parts and an armorer who only replaces parts, alright? So, keep that in mind. Be realistic with your expectations. Do you want to be an armorer, or do you want to be an actual gunsmith? They're not the same. But we have uses for both. One good example I have here is, I have a Ithaca 49R. Good luck getting parts for this thing, right? But somehow I have to turn this thing, this broken thing, into this, with no available parts. I don't need a guy to remove and replace this. I can teach that on the fly. I need a guy that knows how to run a machine that can make this, because it doesn't exist in any inventory or in anyone's little parts box. So that is what a gunsmith does. And you're not going to learn that online from any institution. Alright? There are other gunsmith schools that are in person. From what I understand, they're great. But remember, they're going to be limited. Just because someone is a gunsmith doesn't mean that they're going to know everything upon graduating school. There are people that spend 20 years in this profession that have a gun walk through their doors that they have never seen before and have never dealt with. And one perfect example is this guy right here. This is a Marlin 19S. Alright? So if you don't know anything about the Marlin 19S, one of the things is that, one, this is a takedown model. But this actually has two sears in it. A secondary sear and your primary sear. And if something's wrong with your secondary sear, it can lead to slam firing. So I'm going to have to learn how those two things operate in conjunction with each other, because that hammer will not go home. So somehow I have to trip those sears. How am I going to do that? I don't know. I have to tear it apart and figure it out. But I know how components work together, how they should operate. You get the general gist. And then from there, you kind of figure out this gun's particulars. The other thing I got to do is this slide, this hole right here, where the slide shouldn't be coming all the way out. There should be a screw here. I'm going to have to weld that closed and put drill a hole in the exact same spot and then thread it for a new bolt to make sure that this doesn't come all the way out, because it's disconnecting with the bolt. All right, so this thing has a lot of issues right now. You're not going to learn this in any school, but I tell you what you do. Once you get that familiarization in machining, in lathes, mills, running those two machines, that's money. All right, and if you can TIG weld, that's money on top of money. But if you could do those three things, and then you apprentice for a gunsmith, when things that are unusual like this walk in, you're going to be able to take lessons from somebody who either has the experience or somebody who is as familiar with them as they can be. All right, I am in no way means an expert, especially on this model. But where I get my information from are older gunsmiths or other gunsmiths that have seen this before. And one of them has actually given me a printout, a step-by-step guide on how to disassemble and reassemble and what to look out for. This thing is no pictures, and it's 14 pages long. Just to give you a degree of the complexity I'm about to embark on with this gun here. Alright? So, I know this is kind of a long video. I didn't mean to make it this long, but remember, you're not going to learn gunsmithing online. SDI is probably the worst choice you can possibly get to. If you're paying that much money for people to shill for you, that means you're not really standing up on your own merits. You're not really producing quality students. And me as a gunsmith, if I'm going to hire somebody, if somebody puts SDI on their resume, that's probably the quickest way for me to not call you back and to shit can your resume, because the past 3 SDI grads I've dealt with couldn't even build an AR completely. Which is sad, because that's what they do. And it's not like that is a complicated weapon system to repair, or fix, or build, right? So, again, that's just one of the questions that I get so often that I thought I'd make a video about it, and it turned out to be a longer video than normal, but it needed to be said. Like I said, just don't. Save your money and go to a good school. Learn machining, and even if you don't get into the gunsmith world, by learning how to machine, you have a marketable skill in a different industry. So you're making a backup plan before your first plan ever comes into fruition, all right? So think about stuff like that. That would be my advice. Again, that's my opinion from this side of the bench, all right? So take it with a grain of salt. Stay safe, shoot straight, and you will see this on a future video, because I'm going to document every single step of this, because it doesn't exist. All right? We'll see you.